It was an 8 billion parameter model that outperformed any human
Able
doctor.
to have our own LLMs, like our own models.
And so the cost of disproving the Erdos unit distance conjecture drops by like 10 or 100x with every model release cycle, probably in some cases more. So
you've seen the meme that's like, oh, why bother doing any engineering work when I should just wait for the next model
just
release?
go on vacation and come back 2 months later, and then it's 1,000 times cheaper.
Do you agree with that?
Is
that what you're doing right now at OpenAI, just waiting for the next model release?
I think I will say that we're in a period where progress is very fast, and the models are becoming more capable. I can say at OpenAI, one of the things that we're actively not doing, and look, we have a lot of mathematicians
building this really hard app in Rust. However, that might have been a moat in and of itself 5 years ago. I do not consider that much of a moat at this point. Actually, the cost of building software is going way down. I don't think you can have difficulty of building a product, just a pure client-side software product, is a defensible thing. And that's actually one of the reasons that we open source was the IP isn't the thing. It's the community, it's the user base, it's the excitement.
Yeah, maybe my take would be that I don't think this is so far off. And I feel like we had regularly this year this kind of challenging on the closed source model. The 2025 started with DeepSeek at the very beginning of the year, saying boom, and was the first moment the world realized, oh, there's this open source AI, what is that? And it's actually competitive. More recently, Kimi was also really close to the state of the art, or not so far. I would say, for me, the prior is that there is still probably, there's still value in training model, I think, and for sure this is something that will keep continue pushing the frontier. But more and more, I think the value and that's also the direction.
Yeah, I would say we have some really great models coming out of China right now, which are frontier open models. We also have Nemotron that was released, Ultra that was released last month. It's a very exciting model, and NVIDIA has a great roadmap. And there are a lot of models coming out this summer. So this is going to be a pretty exciting summer for open weights.
Last summer, just as a demonstration, it was an 8 billion parameter model that outperformed any human doctor. And so it's up at ChatGPT 5 levels. But the plan is basically probably second half of this year, we're going to release models for every single public sector vertical, education, health, legal, and more, that are fully transparently trained, so you know what the underlying data is. I think it's a given almost, we're highly confident they'll outperform any human, as it were. But we had this realization, do you want your kid to be taught by an AI that has been trained on Reddit? Not particularly, right?
Claude these days. Part of the team, we have Llama CPP, which is the most used runtime for local AI these days. Makes it super easy to, once you have downloaded a model, to basically run it on any of your hardware. And I hope it will continue to grow. Ultimately, for me, we're in the early stage of AI, right? And in this early stage of AI, for some reason, 99% of the workloads are APIs calls to massive proprietary models. Probably because it's easier, because, people feel more comfortable maybe to start with that. But ultimately, I think a very big part of your workloads are going to be either new open source models, are going to be smaller, more specialized models, are going to be...
That you could share. I will give a caveat, which is there's no one right way to use Quad Code. So I can share some tips, but honestly, this is a dev tool. Developers are all different. Developers have different preferences. They have different environments. So there's just so many ways to use these tools. There's no one right way. You sort of have to find your own path. Luckily, you can ask Quad Code. It's able to make recommendations. It can edit your settings. It kind of knows about itself. So it can help with that. A few tips that generally I find pretty useful. So number one is just use the most capable model. Currently, that's Opus 4.6. I have maximum effort enabled always. The thing that happens is sometimes people try to use a less expensive model like Sonnet or something like this. But because it's less intelligent, it actually takes more tokens in the end to do the same task. And so it's actually not obvious that it's cheaper if you use a less expensive model. Often it's actually cheaper and less token intensive if you use the most capable model, because it can just do the same thing much faster with less correction, less hand-holding, and so on. So that's the first step, is just use the best model. The second one is use plan mode.
Is that an unsolved problem for them?
Yeah, I think it's the privacy piece. I think the secure deployment of this tech, of this platform, is something that our customers couldn't do without. It's something that is a hard requirement in their settings. They can't send data out into a cloud. They're highly regulated. They're in these high security settings. And so they need something that's deployed on-prem or even air-gapped on their infrastructure. There's a deployment level differentiation, and the other piece is within the product itself.
Software layers are able to get recreated very quickly now. Like, we're building out an eval set that measures how effectively agents can build end-to-end SaaS applications, where 2025 was the year of how do you get a model to make a PR in a code base? And 2026 is the year of how do you get the model to clone Slack end-to-end? And those capabilities are going to exist in the models in the next 12 months. And so that means very significant things for companies that are betting on software moats sustaining their businesses.
And eventually we'll be able to have our own LLMs, like our own models that we would be able to host in our own hardware. We don't have to rely on like one centralized model given to us by like any specific model company. And using that, you can shape it to your beliefs, your custom, your custom data, and so when you're consuming a search result, you can actually task that AI that you control and you run, so nobody can shut off access to it, to tell you like, hey, like, can you actually like give me a contrarian perspective on this? Or like, can you tell me if these search results are actually biased? So I think we need to give individuals more sovereignty with more access to their own AIs that they own and run on a piece of hardware they own themselves. And this is the whole, like, this is going to be leading to the whole rise of local AIs. So as AI models, like today, they're very power inefficient. They're running on large data centers. But in a year or two from now, whatever capability that exists in the most power-hungry data centers it'll be possible to run it in some box that you own.
Really?
Yeah. It's already happening. It's already happening that like there are like interesting hardware projects like the Apple Mac Mini, NVIDIA DGX, where you can actually host a reasonable size model and put it in a box and have it run, and you don't have to pay for all the tokens it produces you. You just have to plug it into your power core and it works.